Hey everyone, and welcome. I'm Rosa from Wonder Mobility, and today we'll be looking into the topic of task management. An important topic not only for you as our client, but for all shared mobility operators overall. And since our last webinar, which was about operational excellence, we wanted to dive in just a little bit deeper into this new feature within our operations map that's called New Task Management, a feature that has been made to help you manage your operations more efficiently. And as we know, profitability is a big topic for operators this year, but we often forget the value of saving time in order to cut costs. So today I'm joined by Norman Kreikemeier, product lead at Wunder, who will give us more insights into this new feature and what it will mean for you. And maybe you could briefly introduce yourself, Norman, and what you do here at Wunder in your role.
Hi, Rosa. Yeah, thanks. I will give a short introduction about my person. I'm Norman. I'm working at Wunder Mobility as product lead. In this role, I'm basically responsible for executing our product roadmap, therefore exchanging with different parties within the company, trying to be the bridge to our clients, you operators, to basically see what are the most relevant topics for fleet operation to make your life, your work as efficient as possible. Aside of that, I'm leading a team of product owners and product designers within Wunder.
Thank you, Norman. And just to let everyone know, you'll be able to leave your questions in the chat, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible during the webinar or shortly after. So let's get started. Maybe you could explain what task management is and why it's so important for one as an operator.
Yeah, task management in general is, I would say, a quite simple function, which is basically a tool to manage tasks around your daily work. And why is that important? Because in the end, I think the most relevant asset within your operation business are the vehicles. And the overall goal should be that the vehicles are as much available to your end users as possible. In best case, you can reduce the time where vehicles are idling in a low battery status or waiting for maintenance. And basically, for this goal, we try to find a solution with our task management because in the end, we want to make things like battery swapping, cleaning vehicles, or repairs better organized to increase the availability of your vehicles to your end users, and in the end, in best case, save costs and increase revenue.
That's very interesting. So let's talk about some of the ways that operators with different roles, such as street operators or fleet managers, can make best use of this feature. Are there any use case examples that you can show us directly in our platform?
Sure. Let me start with shortly showing what we had as task management before in our application, to then show a little bit more like what we improved and what kind of use cases we can support with this new tooling. So as you can see here on my screen, this was our old task management, which is a generic list of tasks you as a fleet manager could create for your street operators. But it was very isolated. It was an isolated list in the middle of our system, but not in the core of your daily work. And you can see we have a little overview here of a few test tasks. Overall, I think the most weak point here was that it was possible to create tasks, to add a title, to add a description, to set a priority, a specific state, which is either to do, in progress, testing, done, and things like due date, for example. But then the weakest point here was that we were basically just able to select one vehicle. Means if you want to create multiple tasks, you have to do this step again and again for every single vehicle. And this is with the context of very likely hundreds of tasks upcoming every day, a quite time-consuming and costful job if you have to create every single task, even repetitive task, for different vehicles again and again without being efficient. And let me change to our new implementation or integration of task management into our operations map. Our operations map is, I would say, the core of a daily operation business. And since we have an overview about the relevant vehicles within our application or within your application here, we basically integrated the task management into this part of the application, and we added some other helpful features around every specific or single vehicle. All right, now I want to show you how we integrated the task management into our operations map, which is basically the core of your daily business, where you can see your fleet in the current status. You see in time position of your vehicles, you see in time battery level, and so on. And this is basically the tool you as an operator might use as most important tool in your daily work. And what we did here is, or what is generally possible within here is, you can filter for specific vehicles. I prepared a little demo filter for our session today, just to shortly demonstrate what's in general possible. It starts with, we can select specific vehicle states, which you can also customize to your needs. But here is an example. I disabled test vehicles which are out of order, just to demonstrate, like, we don't want to see everything. I selected a specific battery percentage of our vehicles. I selected specific vehicle types, and I can also narrow down by locations. Locations are there for structuring your fleet into different segments, I would say. For example, it can be that you have different user base in one city, or maybe you operate in different cities, and therefore, we're using our locations. And when narrowing down, or when basically setting up a filter, I also have the chance to save this. As we can see here, this can make your life way more efficient, because in the end, you can create the most relevant filters for you, and you don't have to set up this filter again and again. You can easily exit it with clicking on it. And when being in here, one of the weak points I mentioned, we basically improved within here, because I can, let's say, select two vehicles which are in my interest because they are with lower battery level, and I can do bulk actions to those vehicles. For example, I can change the vehicle state. So if I would be interested, I could change them to battery swapping, if relevant. Or I can edit vehicle text. I will tell something more about the text in a moment. As well as I can create vehicle task, and this is basically what we are talking about. And here, I can easily create a task for two vehicles, which would come with two tasks. And let's imagine this is one area where one street operator is running. So let's do something like brake check. And we can add a proper description. Please check the brakes for proper functioning. State, as I already showed, very likely it starts with a to-do. And I can assign this to my street operators. And for test purpose here, I have created an own account for myself, and assign it to this user. And in the end, you can decide if you want to notify this assigned user or not about a new task. There are additional configurations which we hide initially because they might not be from highest priority for you in your task creation work. But if needed, you can set priority from low to high. You can set a due date, and if you want to connect something to a specific user customer of your application, then this is also possible. But by creating the task, we now created two tasks, which we can see in a second when I click on, let's say, our Wunderbike Ankit here. Shortly jumping into the task section, and you can see the brake check is showing up here. And if I want to change something here, I can also edit it again, which, for example, could come with when your street operator is currently not available because of, I don't know, spontaneous sickness, vacation. It's generally possible to reassign it to another street operator, or if it's about like, I don't know, there's another one which has more capacity for the day, you can basically adjust the assignment, and with that a little bit shift planning of your fleet of your street operators. Sorry. Yeah, that's basically what we integrated as task management here. Let me shortly explain a little bit around what else is possible here, because there are some nice connected features. For example, tags. Tags can be there for proper filtering in the after setting a tag, you are able to filter your vehicles in a nice way. You can set tags, for example, for battery swapping or for maintaining the brakes or for whatever, to in general be able afterwards to check again, like which vehicles did had a specific tag, and are those tasks already solved for it. In parallel, you can also add notes to a specific vehicle, which, for example, might be helpful when it comes to damages. That you basically have a history of what has happened to your specific vehicle or to your overall fleet. And yeah, this is basically now accessible directly here via the operations map, and hopefully will make the life of operators much more easier.
Wow, that's really interesting. And I was just wondering, is it also possible to, especially for the street operator, to view this, but on mobile view? Like especially filtering, for example, or?
Yeah, let me change my screen for that, and we will see this in a second. I can also show you the mobile view of what street operators might experience, because yeah, it's very unlikely that street operators are running their street operation work with a laptop with them. So very likely they do the operations work with their mobile phone with them. And yeah, it's basically optimized for mobile use as well. We have the same kind of filtering here, but in the end, it might be most relevant for them to select specific vehicles. I can also show a little bit about how the street operator experience looks like. We basically optimized this part of the application for mobile use, because street operators might not have their laptop with them, and will concentrate their work on doing everything with the mobile phone. And I already selected the same filter as we saw before on the desktop view. What street operators will see when opening one of the vehicles is basically a collapsed view of this specific vehicle. You can see we have the section hardware, task, notes, and tags again. To basically navigate the specific sub areas. We can expand this view, which is, I would say, already a quite helpful part, because here, street operators can see helpful IoT device information, and also have a option to refresh this data if needed, if the last data was recorded some time ago. And this is basically also something which they can see here when tapping on a specific part. They, for example, can see that the information that this vehicle is currently logged is basically was triggered a few seconds ago. And they have the chance to interact with the vehicle. We have, for example, here, I think a quite easy thing to potentially find a vehicle around, the chance to use the honking. As a secure feature, we basically enabled a little bit longer pressing to not interact with the vehicle by accident. Means, the street operator needs to tap on one of the hardware actions a little bit longer to finally activate it. But this this is basically there for not doing something by accident, and a little bit security feature, because I mean, mobile phone, you all might know it, that sometimes in your pocket it's doing things that you haven't planned. Yeah, and then when it comes to tasks, a street operator can see the list of tasks for a specific vehicle, and can interact with them. For example, let's say the brake check is currently in progress. This will run for a few minutes, and whenever this is done, depending on how you set up your processes, there might be some kind of testing which is needed before a task is set to done. And before setting it to done, here's a little bit of reassurance if this task is finally done based on your agreement of what this task should consist about. Yeah, and this is basically a detail view for a specific vehicle. So one thing I want to show you in addition is a new feature which we roll out soon, or which we want to roll out soon. This is basically there for filtering vehicles with tasks assigned to them. As a street operator, you might be interested in which vehicles do have tasks which are assigned to you as a street operator, to make your work more efficient and have a proper plan of where do you have to go over the day. Yeah, and this is basically integrated in the filters. When opening this part of vehicles with task, street operators are able to select this assigned to me, which will then filter for vehicles with task which are assigned to the logged in street operator. And yeah, luckily for my user, I just have one task assigned to me, which is then basically showing the vehicle. Same would happen if I have 20 or more vehicles with tasks assigned to me for the day. But this is basically a view which will definitely help the street operator to plan the day properly.
Wow, like this is very interesting and very useful for a person as a street operator which needs to run and can't have their laptop with them. Really, really exciting. I almost wish I was a street operator. And aside from bulking tasks, managing vehicles, and even filtering, is there any other way that our clients can best utilize this feature more efficiently?
Yeah, I already mentioned this. This part of you might have a bigger group of people running your street operation business. Within our application here, you can see the position of your street operators when they are using the application on their phone, and they basically enable sharing their location. And this can basically help you to assign the task to the closest street operator, for example. Yeah, based on their location, to make everything more efficient, to basically avoid longer commutes or avoid any kind of traffic congestion. This is basically a way how you can focus on your fleet and see which street operator is the one in the best position to do the needed work in the most efficient way without crossing the whole city from northwestern side to southeastern side. This is basically one example of how to use this more efficient with a proper shift planning, proper assignment based on street operator's position.
Cool. And maybe let's move on to another related topic for this. And we see a lot of popping up of AI products and AI features every day into the market. And as we know, AI is a really big topic right now in tech.
It is.
And we actually have a question from one of our guests in the audience who is wondering if Wunder is considering into investing in this kind of technology, not only for our whole product offering, but as specifically into this feature. Is this something that the product team at Wunder is thinking about?
Yeah, we already collected some ideas about how to work with artificial intelligence, some kind of automation based on the data we have, and we can progress. And making a little step back to this one example I already mentioned, which is basically about like finding the best possible street operator to assign a task to because of, for example, location or based on workload or whatever might be relevant. Those are things we consider for automation to, for example, assign a new created task to the closest street operator, to have a very short response time to specific tasks. We think in this direction. We also have thought in the direction of relocation work, where basically things like heat mapping or demand prediction become more relevant to increase the time where your vehicles are in active use, so the utility. And this is basically something which will definitely help you as an operator to get more revenue out of your fleet. And I think the last thought on this is basically doing task creation more automated. Think about specific events which should automatically create specific tasks. Use the example of battery swapping again. Right now, we are already able to change the state of a vehicle to battery swapping when it falls under a specific level of battery. And in the future, we can also enhance this with creating a task for this directly. And when you think about the first example, then directly assigning it to the next or to the closest street operator might make things much more efficient for everyone.
Yeah, that's very interesting. All right, that was super interesting, actually. And we got another question from one of our guests in the audience, and it's about possible third-party integrations. Our guest is wondering if it's possible to integrate one of our partners' APIs easily into our back end, so in order to boost their operations, and if this is something that is possible with our feature.
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit the other way around. We basically offer super powerful APIs for basically all the use cases we are supporting also in our backend. And in addition, we have a huge number of webhooks available. And with APIs or with our API endpoints and the webhooks, it's possible that an operator decides to select a tool for more enhanced task management, and then integrate this tool against our APIs, which in the end is a separate tool, but I mean based on the data we are maintaining in our system. And we already have one marketplace partner, Motion Tools. They are basically specialized on task management. Their tooling is way more intense than what we currently offer in our tooling. But this is basically up to the needs of every single operator, how complex or how powerful the task management needs to be. When it comes to battery swapping tasks, for example, or other maintenance tasks, what we offer might be powerful enough. But if you go in a more advanced way, like I don't know, operating a fleet for order management, for example, for shipping something from A to B, this might come with way more complex requirements for a task management. And there, Motion Tools is definitely a good go-to address, I would say.
Wow, that certainly answers the question. Thank you for giving such an overview. So, just to recap everything that we've spoken about today, you've walked us through what task management is and why it's so meaningful for you, for one, as an operator. You also showed us some use case example, both from a street operator's perspective as well as from a fleet manager's, with a mobile view embedded in the middle. We've spoken about automations and future technologies and everything that our team is thinking about surrounding this new trend. We've also spoken about possible API integrations, and you've named one of our partners, Motion Tools, as one of the clear providers for this topic. And unfortunately, time is running out, but I just wanted to thank you, Norman, for walking us through today and explaining this topic so efficiently.
Thanks, Rosa. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I also want to thank the audience for watching, and for participating, and for leaving your questions. Unfortunately, we couldn't get to all of them throughout the webinar, but our product team will get back to you and answer them as soon as possible. Bye, Norman.
Bye, Rosa.